Absolutely. We want to thank you all on behalf of my partners. We want to thank you all for coming today and spending a little your morning with us. I especially want to thank the Parks and Rec guys, Kevin and company, for getting us set up and helping us move forward. What I have next to me here is the Hydrovolt SQN. It is the premier unit for water purification basically in the world. We have not found anything that can do what this can do anywhere. So the Hydrovolt SQN is versatile. As you can see, it's very small in comparison, but it's very mighty. It weighs 620 pounds, can fit in the back of a Jeep, it can get into a small plane, it can virtually go anywhere you want it to go, and it'll purify any water source. So that's fresh, which we're going to do today, brackish, or seawater. It's agnostic to the water type. Many units that are out there today have to know what type of water source you're going to be dealing with. This does not. So it has 4 main modes of operation. Generator, it is a 6.5 kilowatt generator, so it can run power. It is a water mover, so it can pump 14,500 gallons per day from point A to point B. It can filter water without making it potable. So if there is dirty water that is needed for cattle to be cleaned up or for plants or livestock, what have you, it can do that and filter the water. And then it can purify water in its reverse osmosis mode. And it can do that 2,500 gallons of seawater a day or 5,000 gallons of fresh water a day. It operates on a 7-stage filtration system, which starts with the intake pump, which you can't see. But if you'll trust me, go a little bit of faith, that is in the middle of this offshoot of the river here. Then that's our water source. So that is the first stage of the filtration, is the intake pump. It then comes into the unit here and goes into this filter right here, which is a disc filter. And that starts separating out the larger particles that are in the water. It then goes into the sediment filter here, which is a paper filter. Sorry, this is what a new one looks like. And then from there, it goes into the carbon filter here. So each time it degrades the impurities in the water in microns. So by the time we get to the reverse osmosis, we are at 0.0001 microns, so 800,000 times smaller than the human hair once it gets to the RO part of this. This stage right here is the UV light. This is where most of your biologicals then are killed through the UV light system. And then what you can't see on the other side here are 2 tubes, silver tubes that say flow on the outside of them. Those are the reverse osmosis components of the system. That is the final stage that it goes through to produce potable water. So the middle hose is going to be the waste discharge, and then the blue hose here is the pure water that comes out. It's about a 4-to-1 ratio of the water. This last stage that is right here is a post-carbon filter, and the purpose of that is basically to take out any odor that might be in the water, if it's a stagnant aspect or stagnant water, flood water, that type of thing, which usually causes people not to drink it. If it smells bad, I'm not going to drink it regardless how pure it is. So that removes that barrier for them. The unit runs on a Yanmar L100 diesel engine with a generator built into it. So that is here. It starts by hand pull, or the primary mode is a 12-volt battery system that runs it and turns it on. So we're going to do that here in a minute. All units are set up on a 220 European system, and I think that's it for the basics. So we're going to go ahead, and anybody have any questions up to this point? We are going to have a presentation following at lunch, and that may be the best place to have questions after you see it, so just so you guys know that. So we're going to go ahead and start it. The process to get to purification of water is to start the unit, and then what we'll do is we'll go back over here and we'll put it into filtration mode first. I'll open up the valves and then turn it into RO mode. You'll hear the engine kind of bog down and then pick back up. That is the high pressure pump kicking in. It needs to run for fresh water. We're running at 300 to 400 PSI. For salt water, we're running into a 600 to 800 PSI range.
Do you have a website?
We do have a website, ANSA-NA.com. And it has all of our product line on there as well as all the things that I'm talking about today. So it's coming out of there too, got it. And typical of what we've seen in other places in the world where this has been used is, you know, all kinds of bacteria in the water. And this morning we had a dead fish floating down through here, which is not uncommon in some of the areas, dead cattle, those types of things. The primary use of this initially has been with Samaritan's Purse. If you're familiar with Franklin Graham's organization that does relief work across the world, a lot of field hospitals, this is what supplies their water for their field hospitals, both for surgical purposes, bathing purposes, and drinking and obviously washing purposes. But one to two units, depending on the size of the field hospital, will take care of the water needs for that particular unit. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And then the water process will start. It'll take about less than 5 minutes for us to get to drinking water stage. So we'll go ahead and start that now. So now we're going to turn it into filtration mode. Go ahead, just leave that hang on the side so we don't get too wet. And now that it's starting to run, that's not drinkable yet because it's just in filtration mode. So you can see how quickly the system brings the water up from the river into the machine and starts running it through. Now we're going to go to the RO mode, or the reverse osmosis. You hear the engine bog down. We're going to open the valve. And right now on our parts per million meter, we started out at about 70 parts per million in terms of the water. We're now at 20. Within less than a minute, we're at 20 parts per million. We're now at 9. We're running right at 300 PSI for the RO mode. And right now we're at 1.6 parts per million is what we're running out. The water's coming through the machine. So if you bear with me just a minute. So this water now came out of here. It's coming out now at about 1.1 parts per million, down from 70 in less than 2 minutes. When we had this in South Africa, we went to a lake, and the lake was 1,700 parts per million. Inside of 3 minutes, it took it down to half parts per million in terms of the water, particles that are in the water. So, can I have a clear glass? So this is the river water. And that's what's coming out. So if you guys are game, we all have a plastic cup for you if you want to try it. Hey Sam,